Hey everyone, today we're tackling a big question that we have been getting a lot. Is now a good time to buy a home in Sarasota? The market has shifted lately, and if you're considering a move, especially if you're relocating here, you need to know what's happening. We're seeing some really interesting conditions. Mortgage rates have dropped to a 3-year low, and local housing trends are looking more buyer friendly than they have in a long time. Let's break down the latest stats and news to see why this moment could be a sweet spot for home buyers. I'm Nick with Zackos Realty and Design Group, and I specialize in helping people relocate to the Gulf Coast. My family has lived here for years, and I've guided a ton of out-of-state buyers through our market. So I've seen firsthand what works, what to watch out for, and how to take advantage of opportunities like the one we're talking about today. My goal is to make sure you understand the local market inside and out so you can make the smartest move possible. First, let's talk about mortgage rates because this is huge for buyers. After years of climbing, 30-year fixed mortgage rates just fell to their lowest level since 2022, around 6.1% on average. Not long ago, we were looking at 7% or higher rates, so this is a pretty significant drop. Like most people predicted, the Fed recently cut its benchmark interest rate for the first time in 2025, and the financial markets reacted quickly. Lower treasury yields have pulled mortgage costs down, which is great news for anyone shopping for a home loan. So why does this matter? A lower interest rate can significantly reduce your monthly payment, meaning you can afford more house for the same budget or just save money each month. And buyers are noticing mortgage applications jumped as soon as the rates dipped. I mean, think about it. If you were hesitating when rates were near 7%, the current rates might feel like a relief. And some homeowners are looking to refinance now that they finally have a chance to lock in a better rate. The bottom line is that financing a home is cheaper today than it has been in recent years, and that opens up opportunities for buyers. Now, interest rates aren't the only thing that have changed. The Sarasota real estate market itself has been cooling off in recent years, and that shift puts buyers in a stronger position. Let's talk about what's been happening locally. Home prices have leveled out and even dipped more. Prices in Sarasota are down from last year. Over the past year, single-family home prices in Sarasota County have fallen over 8% on average, and in Manatee County, they've dropped even more, over 15% year over year. This is one of the sharpest declines we've seen in our area in years. I mean, it wasn't that long ago during COVID when we saw double-digit price jumps annually. So this cool down is a big change. Our region actually went from one of the hottest markets in the country to one of the few places where values actually fell, while many other markets kept climbing, with nationwide home values rising about 3 to 4% on average in the past year. In short, homes here are a bit more affordable now than they were a year ago, which is a welcome relief for buyers. Homes are sitting on the market longer, so the days of, weekend sell-offs and frantic bidding wars are basically over. The median time to sell a home in Sarasota is around 100 days or, 3+ months, which is much longer than it was 3 or 4 years ago. To put it in perspective, the average home is now going under contract in about 60 days compared to just 50 days this time last year. So why is it taking longer? There are two main reasons. For one, there are more choices for buyers. Inventory has grown, so buyers don't have to rush into a purchase out of the fear of missing out. With more homes on the market, you can shop around a little bit more. And two, overpriced listings. Some sellers are still, clinging to the sky-high pricing from a few years back, and buyers today are more price conscious. So if a home is even slightly overpriced now, buyers are more likely to pass because they know there are other options. This dynamic means buyers can be patient and picky. If you're home shopping, you actually have time to think before you bid. Schedule a second viewing or negotiate instead of feeling pressured to pay whatever the seller asks. And speaking of negotiating, buyers have more negotiating power. With houses taking longer to sell, sellers are getting a bit more anxious and realistic. Many have had to cut their asking price to attract offers. In fact, I think 1 out of every 5 sellers in Sarasota were reducing their prices each month earlier this year. More times than not in this market, sellers are accepting deals below their list price. Homes in Sarasota are selling for about 90% of their original list price on average. A year or two ago, it wasn't uncommon to see homes selling at 100% or more of asking, and sometimes with escalations. Now, an offer that's, say, 5 to 8% under asking could easily be accepted. This is just proof by the numbers that the leverage has swung back to the buyers. You can negotiate and potentially get a home for under the listed price in this market. Inventory has been high, which means it's a buyer's market. Throughout 2025, we've seen a surge in the number of homes for sale. Earlier in the year, Sarasota's inventory rose to levels we hadn't seen since before COVID. By June, the supply of homes was around 6 to 7 months worth of inventory in Sarasota, and even higher for condos. For context, about 5 to 6 months of supply is considered a balanced market. So yes, we are in genuine buyer's market territory. There's just a ton of inventory out there to choose from. Sarasota's single family listings were up over 20% year over year, nearly double than when we had pre-pandemic. More listings plus fewer sales means a lot more options for you as a buyer. All of these factors, lower prices, longer selling times, and more inventory means that if you've been hoping to buy in Sarasota, 2025 has been offering the best buyer conditions in recent memory. This is a big reversal from the crazy sellers market we had a couple years back, and it has opened a window for buyers to make more strategic moves. So things are great for buyers right now, but does that mean you should hurry up and buy things before things change? Possibly, yes. There are signs that the market is starting to stabilize and could tighten up again, especially with interest rates coming down. So here's what we know. The inventory is starting to level off. The massive growth in homes for sale is no longer accelerating. Actually, by midsummer, inventory had stabilized and even begun to decline slightly. For example, Sarasota's single-family home inventory peaked around spring and then started trending down after May. As of July, Sarasota County's inventory was back to about 5.5 months of supply for single-family homes, which is right on the edge of a balanced market. This means that the massive inventory of listings is easing up. Fewer new listings are coming on, or more buyers are scooping them up, probably a combination of the two. Likewise, prices have stopped falling in some segments. In July, Sarasota's median single-family price was holding steady around $470,000, basically flat compared to last year after several months of year-over-year declines. Manatee County even saw its prices tick back up from a June dip. All this points to a market that may be finding its footing, so we might be at or near the bottom of the price curve. So all of those buyers who were, sidelined by high interest rates, well, now that rates have improved, a lot of them are likely to jump back in. There has been a surge in home purchase applications as soon as the rates dropped. If more buyers come back to the Sarasota market to take advantage of 6% and dropping mortgage rates, competition for homes will heat up again. More buyers means the extra inventory gets absorbed faster, and sellers won't feel as pressured to cut prices. In other words, the negotiating power could start shifting back towards sellers if the demand rises. Some people are predicting that lower rates will translate into a price growth. Just the talk of rate cuts can boost buyer confidence, and historically, when rates dip near or below 6%, it pushes home prices up again as demand increases, and we're basically at that point right now. No one expects a return to the crazy 20% annual price jumps, but we could see prices firm up and even trend upward going into 2026 if the buying activity picks up. Home values might stabilize and grow at a more normal pace, maybe 3 to 5%, rather than continuing to drop like it has been. The point is the bargain period is not going to last forever. There's a chance that we look back and say, early to mid 2025 was the bottom for Sarasota home prices in this cycle. But keep in mind, Florida's market also has seasonal patterns. We'll see a ton of buyers into winter and spring, which are peak moving seasons, especially for relocations from up north. If interest rates remain low through those seasons, the usual influx of winter buyers could shrink the inventory even more. Plus, the national economy seems to be stabilizing. If people feel more confident, that just adds momentum to the housing market. All of this means that the current buyer's market conditions could gradually shift towards a more balanced or maybe a seller's market in the not too distant future. So, is now a good time to buy in Sarasota? Based on everything we're seeing, yes, it could be a great time for buyers, especially if you've been waiting on the sidelines. Considering the unique combination we have right now, interest rates are the lowest they've been in 3 years. Prices are not at their peak, and there's a good amount of homes on the market, so you can find something you love without as much competition. Even if you're relocating from out of state, this means your dollar can stretch a little bit further in Sarasota today than it would have, say, a year ago. However, this favorable situation may slowly start to change as the market adapts. We already see hints that it's shifting. Inventory is no longer piling up, and buyer demand is set to grow with the help of lower rates. If you wait too long, you might miss this moment when the buyers still have the upper hand. As more people realize rates have dropped, we could return to multiple offers on the best homes, and sellers might become less flexible on the price. So my advice, if you're in a position to buy now, take a serious look at the market. Do your homework. We always stress that. Connect with a good local realtor and lender, understand your budget, and tour some homes. You might be pleasantly surprised at the deals that you can negotiate in this market. Just a year or two ago, buyers had practically no leverage in Sarasota. Today, you can get seller concessions and prices that just weren't on the table not too long ago. And with a cheaper mortgage, the overall cost of home ownership is more manageable. Of course, every buyer situation is different. Make sure the timing is right for you in terms of job, finances, and your personal life. But purely from a market standpoint, all the signals point to this being a great opportunity for buyers. The idea is to buy when the market is in your favor. In Sarasota right now, the market does favor buyers, but it will not stay that way indefinitely. So is now a good time to buy? It definitely looks like it. Interest rates are down, prices are down, or at least stable, and you've got options. If you love the Sarasota area and you're looking to buy, now could be the time to find that home and make your move. As always, keep an eye on the latest trends and obviously work with professionals that you trust. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about the Sarasota market or real estate on the Gulf Coast in general, reach out in the comments or call, text, email me at any time. I'm here for you when you're ready to make the move.